Hello again, and welcome to the introduction to the new Modernized CDL skills test. My name is Mike Logan, and I'm excited to announce that this year a new vehicle inspection and basic control skills test were implemented. To find out if your state has implemented this new test, you can also Google Modernized CDL testing for your state. I'm from Colorado, so I'll be talking about what's changed in my state. But if you have any questions about your state, please leave a comment, and I'll be happy to research that and let you know the most current information. Now, the new vehicle inspection requires you to name the item, point to or touch the item, and fully explain what you are inspecting the critical safety item for. What's new is now you have a checklist that you can carry with you and mark off while you're conducting the vehicle inspection. The basic control skills test has 4 exercises you'll be required to perform. The road test in section 13 is unchanged. Now I would like to go to the interview with Mike Haus, who is a CDL test administrator and CDL instructor, for a more detailed explanation of the changes. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. I'm Mike Haus. I'm an instructor here with Sage Truck Driving School. I've been with the company now for almost 2 years. I'm also a state examiner.
Well, thanks for taking this time. The reason we're here is because I made a video series that's going on about 6 years old. Much of it still applies, but this year there were many changes that happened, and so that's what we're going to do today, is talk about some of those changes and put out some new information. And so that way students that are preparing for this test have the most up-to-date information.
Correct.
The first thing that I was informed about that became a change was the vehicle inspection. The school still teaches the same information.
Correct.
You get the information, it's thorough, but when it comes to explaining your knowledge during the test, it's a little bit different.
First of all, the majority of the information that's necessary to drive a truck. There are over 100 items that are going to be required to look at on a normal basis. And that is the way that the test used to be. And now they've broken that down, and the modernization is broken down to roughly 60 items that are necessary and required for the exam. In that, we train the entire process for your vehicle inspection. However, then we break it down for the modernization testing.
Anything else on the inspection?
The one thing that is very important is the brake test is still exactly the same. It still has to be done 100% correctly,
okay,
without fail. If you miss any part of that brake test, obviously that is an automatic fail.
Okay.
However, you can go back and ask if you feel like you have missed something. You can go back and ask to restart the test. Likewise, with any part of the vehicle inspection, if you feel like you've missed something, you can always go back and explain what you think you've missed. And since we have the checklist, where you're able to go down through the checklist and mark off the items as you go along, and that gives you a better basis to make sure that you've caught the items that are necessary. Perfect. Instead of working off of your memory.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So for those who have watched this video up to this point, we are going to make another video for the brake inspection, a complete video for that. And then the next thing that we need to update that was changed this year is the range, the backing maneuvers. We're going to make another video that shows the backing maneuvers.
You will always do 4 basic skills from this point on. First skill is starting out at the end of the range, driving forward and stopping the vehicle in a stop box, with the vehicle in the stop box without going out one side or the other.
Okay.
All right. Then you are going to pull forward and stop. Then you're going to back the truck entirely through the cone area or the range area until the front of the vehicle has cleared the last set of cones on the far end.
Perfect.
All right. Then what you're going to do is what's known as a forward offset. You're going to pull down through the lane, come out to the left, and pull the truck out parallel with the boundary line that's on the outside. In doing that, you have to make sure that the right rear tire of either a trailer, if you're on a Class A, or the truck on a Class B has to go between the line and the cone at the end of the zone.
Okay.
All right. Then what you're going to do is you're allowed to get the truck parallel with the lane and the outer boundary, and then you're going to back the truck in basically in a parallel. You're going to back the truck back into the lane, and then you're going to back up to the end of the range where there's another 3-foot box, and you have to park with the rear trailer or the rear of the trailer in between the 3-foot zone
in that
free
box.
zone. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about free pull-ups?
All right. Anytime that you're doing a backing maneuver, you're allowed to pull up. On the backing maneuver where you're backing straight through the lane, you're allowed 1 pull-up,
Okay.
and you're allowed 1 to get out and look.
And that's just free.
That's
prior to the points being assessed.
Right. That's only on your pull-ups.
Okay.
On the get out and looks, you're allowed 1 get out and look
On
from
the
that
straight
one.
line back?
And
Okay.
that's it. When you back in parallel, you're allowed 2 get out and looks, and you're allowed 2 free pull-ups.
Okay. Very good.
And at that point, the best thing to do is always think about this. If you have to make a pull-up, you want to make the pull-up count. You want to get your vehicle out nice and straight and get yourself prepared to back up and straight so that you can see.
Okay.
The other thing too is that you have to be aware of the fact that you don't want to get any part of the vehicle past the lines on either side of the vehicle or past a cone.
Okay.
Right? And that point, that would become an encroachment. One thing that we always instruct is that it is better to get a pull-up, an extra pull-up. So you have 2 free pull-ups. If you take a 3rd pull-up, it's better to take that pull-up than it is to get an encroachment.
In the backing maneuvers, is there something that's considered an automatic fail?
Yes, there absolutely is. If you have backed the truck up and you're outside of a boundary, so if you're too far backwards or your trailer or your truck is outside of any of the lines or the cones,
Okay.
and you honk the horn,
Okay.
that would become an
You
automatic
indicate
fail.
you're finished by
You
doing
indicate that you're finished by honking the horn.
And okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you know that is why you utilize those get out and looks to make sure and verify the fact that you're within the boundary lines. Everything is positioned the way it needs to be positioned,
Okay.
and then you honk your horn to finalize that you're satisfied with that position of that vehicle.
All right. So, Mike, explain to the audience the outside boundary lines and how that works for the students.
Okay. The outside boundary lines are basically what we call a zipper line, or they're not a full line. Those boundary lines are located there to stay within the boundaries and not give yourself more of an advantage in order to perform the backing skills. You are required to stay within those boundary lines. Okay, and likewise with the lane where you're doing your skills, those lines are also in play during the exercises.
Mm-hmm.
You have solid lines and you have zipper lines that you have to stay within those lines.
Okay. During the test, for example, if a student applicant goes outside of those boundary lines, are there any sort of consequences, or do you just instruct them to come back into the lines, or
Yeah.
how do you do that?
At that point, you'll either get a stop signal or a whistle, which will indicate to you that you have crossed over or passed a boundary line. At that point, you need to look at where your vehicle is, and then get yourself back within the boundary lines, and then continue on with your backing skills or the skills required.
All right, very good. Approximately how long does it take to get through the 2 backing exercises?
The skills generally take right around 20 to 25 minutes.
Okay.
It really doesn't take very long, and it does happen pretty quick.
Well, thank you for taking the time with me to explain some of these new testing procedures, and so that we have the most current information on the channel. So I really do appreciate it.